For the second time this year, Nigerians are made to face the harsh reality of fuel scarcity. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, have faulted the Pipelines and Product Marketing Company, PPMC, for the recent scarcity of premium motorsports, PMS, in the country. The chairman, IPMAN Lagos Satellite Depot, Mr. Akin Akinriade, at a media briefing in Lagos, stated that since December 2021, not a litre of PMS had been lifted at the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC satellite depots at Ejibo, leaving independent marketers to the hands of private depots who he said have increased their ex-depot price to a level no longer sustainable to sell PMS at 165 naira. Akinriade said while the government had fixed 165 naira per litre as a pump price of premium motorsport spirit, the current realities in the market showed that minimum the product should be retailed at should be 180 naira. Joining us on the show this morning as we discuss the current scarcities and ways to address it is Mr. Mike Osatuyi, National Operations Controller of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. Good morning, Mr. Osatuyi. Welcome to the morning show.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, Mr. Osatuyi, we've been discussing this issue since morning. Please, again, could you help us to find the problem? Because independent marketers are saying that they can't sell PMS at 165 naira. The regulator is saying, no, don't try it. It must be 165 naira. So what exactly is happening? And NNPC is saying it has 2.2 billion liters of petrol that will be out there in a matter of days. Where would that solve the problem?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ruben and the entire staff of Rice TV. Yeah, they can have product, but they don't give us that, directly. Because my members, mainly they buy from depot owners. And depot owners also, they didn't sell to us at official price of 148.17 kobo. So, the question of us selling at 165 is not sustainable. If that is truth. Because by the time you now add the freight, which is about 10 now, and then the fact that this is too expensive now. So, in fact, we get to our station around 170, 175. So how do we, can we sell at 165? It's not possible. So what the chairman said is correct and is the fact. So, but for the past 6 months now, no single product has been given to Mosimi Depot, Ibadan Depot, or a Depot, Ilorin Depot, and Lagos Depot. Yes, they said because of the vendors. Because if they pump 10 million liters, how do they get 6 million liters to depots? But there's a way in which they have been doing before, in which they give IPMAN members fuel in depots in Apa, and we go there to lift artificial price. But that system has been cancelled for years. But if they can go back to that drawing board again and make IPMAN members to be lifting the product at 148.17, we will comply with 165 naira per litre. But if it's going to be the current system of depot owner selling product as above as high as 160, 165 or whatever, we cannot sell at that price. That is truth.
Well, what are you going to do? You have listed all your cogent reasons why you cannot sell at that price, why your 180 naira is a better bet for you as a business, but the regulator has spoken and is insistent on 165 naira. What's going to happen in the interim while these new measures or old measures that you just suggested are reinstated?
The best is for the midstream, downstream authority to call a meeting of the stakeholders. Let us discuss and solve this problem once and for all. Because it has been reoccurring. Every month we are coming here to talk, and we are human beings, we can solve the problem. But you can't just be looking the other side and be saying that we have to sell at 165. Are we getting at the export price? No. So if we have a meeting between the authority and IPMAN, DAPMAN, and MOMAN, then we can now see the problem. And again, in fact, we take this fuel to our stations using diesel. Diesel goes for 800 naira per liter. What can they do to that to solve the problem? Yes, they said they have increased freight by 10 naira, but that does it come in the template? Are they going to increase the pump price to 175? Or they will reduce the export by 10 naira? That one is still hanging. Because we all incur high cost of lifting the product on account of the increase in the cost of diesel. As of February, January, we are buying diesel at 320, 330, but now it's 800 and something. The cost must go somewhere. You can't just be looking as if nothing's happening. And again, the template that we are using is old template, right? That brings about 165 naira per liter. Let us revise, let us go to the drawing board and bring out a new template that fall in with what we are encountering now. Because there's inflation. So we need to go to the drawing board, not using a template of about 12 years old to be matching, to be talking of today's operation. It can't work.
Why is that we keep going around in circles? Why are we here again? And I'd like to ask you, what changed? Because this same time in February, when we had fuel scarcity, you guys complained that you needed the price rise. They insisted 165. They said we have more than enough products. Then things changed. I remember you were here around that time, maybe probably March or April. And you guys continue with that price regime. Now you are insisting you want a raise. Probably they'll talk to you, things will simmer down. Why do we keep going around in circles, really? Why? Why all of this? Why?
We will continue to go around the circle once and if we didn't do the right thing. I've said this, let us discuss, let the stakeholders discuss about reality. You see, yes, in fact, you can have about 2.2 billion liters, but are you giving it to us that, directly at the right price? No. So if you are giving it to that man and then you are now accusing IPMAN of not meeting, the setting at official price, it cannot work. And government, through authority and NNPC, cannot be looking other side. So we need to talk and have a meeting so that we can solve this problem once and for all. And it's reoccurring. We are having queue every day. We are having queue every month. And we are coming to discuss the same issue all over again. So we need to discuss with them. And then they're supposed to have a quarterly meeting to review situations. Even when we are selling at official price, not waiting till when there's problem. Okay. So, but once you don't give us the product, then we are buying from third party. In fact, there's no way it can go right. And that month too, they are complaining that they have costs they are incurring, which is not being captured in the template. So let us go to the drawing board and revise the template and put all the cards on the table. So if it involves increasing the pump price officially, why not? If the figures are right.
Well, beyond the revision of the template that you're advocating, what will be the long-term solution? One of the things President Buhari said in an interview that he had with Bloomberg, which is reported in the papers today, is that once we have internal refining capacity, and with private refineries and modular refineries coming on stream, either later this year or early next year, the problem of subsidy, which has gulped this year alone, we're told in one account, up to about 4 trillion naira, and yet we're still here. Would that solve the problem if we start refining and we're not using Forex, very scarce Forex to import fuel?
Yeah, let me take you to Saudi Arabia. Even if crude price is $200 per barrel, they do increase price in Saudi Arabia because they have their refinery internally and they consume I mean, they consume and they are more patriotic. But here, we are incurring about $500 million every month. Every month on subsidy. Even that is when you get the fresh at 420 at CBN rate. If you are talking of that one, you are talking about 420 naira per liter against 165. So about 297 naira are being subsidized per liter by the government, right? Yes, if we regulate, it's going to be the way out. But can we afford? Can Nigerian afford petrol at 620, 640 per liter? No, because the effect will be very, very much on goods and services. But can we continue about the subsidy? I mean, you're talking about 4 trillion. I can assure you, before October, November, government will go back to assembly to ask for extra 2 trillion, making 6 trillion a year for the subsidy. If we are maintaining the current crude price of $120 to $127, which we have been experiencing in the last 10 days.
Wow, really quite grim. What hopes do we have then, Nigerians, to see these fuel queues disappear before the black market really takes hold and people are forced to pay exorbitant prices and potentially damage their cars? What's the timeline from your perspective of when the fuel queues will end?
The queue will end when government, through authority and NPC, do right thing by calling the stakeholders to a meeting, so that we can solve this problem once and for all. In fact, you can imagine people buying at 300 naira per liter, 400 naira per liter, and their car is even being damaged. It's not fair to Nigerians. Let them call us for a meeting and we discuss and we solve the problem. Once and for all, not going back and forward, so that we can put all the problem on the table and solution. I believe that there's no problem that doesn't have a solution. But to be pretending as if things are okay, things are not okay. Yeah, you can have 3 billion liters per fuel in your reserve, but are you giving to the right people at the right time at the official price? No. And I start to be corrected by them. And we continue like this, talking every day, coming on here every week. It's unfair for Nigerians.
Okay, I'd like to ask. Government keeps talking about modular refineries. There are some modular refineries, probably maybe 1 or 2 working. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do some of your members take products, and do those modular refineries help augment? I know most of them don't even churn out petrol. Do you think along that line that could help? Maybe if some of them are doing petrol, again, most of them do diesel half the time. What's your take about modular refineries? Because there must be a way for us to crack this problem.
Yeah, it's a good concept, but what can they? In fact, what they are producing is very minimal. Because we are consuming about 60 million liters per day, right? That is the estimate. And what are they producing? So, some of them they are doing, in fact, very minimal. So we depend about 95% on importation. If I thought you even give them 5% that they are producing, how can 5% goes? Right. So we have not got it right, and we need to do it right. Yes, I agree that when we start producing by December or first quarter of next year, yes, there will be plenty of fuel in the country. But at the same time, the producer will be buying at the official rate at $120, $125 per barrel, and he has to recover his costs. Except government is now coming, okay, that we are going to continue subsidy for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Yeah, they have the power to do that. But it's biting on the country. We're paying about 6 trillion every year on subsidy. It's a lot. I know that we are borrowing about 6 trillion every year to finance the budget. Where in fact we even have 0 subsidy. So add 6 trillion to another 6 trillion loan, that's about 12 trillion. Going to and then talk about 4 trillion debt financing again. You're going to about 16 trillion. So can we sustain it? Is it sustainable for the country? Can we do it for the next 2, 3, 4 years? It's impossible.
There have been reports of sharp practices. The government-owned depots not working for whatever reasons government is providing. The private depots people were told that they may well be the other main weak link in the supply chain because of sharp practices on their part. You said they also have their own issues, but is it really true that some of these people are involved in very sharp practices, compelling the regulator to say there will be sanctions? And even if there are sanctions, what capacity does the regulator have to enforce it nationwide, to enforce those sanctions nationwide?
Yeah, well, it depends on how you divide your sharp practices. If it's selling above official price, yes, they do. And that's the bottom line, and that is the reason we're having this problem of selling above 165. That's the sharp practices I think I can talk about, right? But other sharp practices, I don't know about it. But the authority knows what to do if they want to work. But they can continue to be looking at the other side and be blaming IPMAN or blaming ABC. So they know what to do, right? So that we can get out of this problem. But if they give the product to IPMAN directly, we are going to, because if let me tell you, 70% of the DAPMAN customers are IPMAN members because they have limited stations. In fact, we have the chunk of the station, so we buy from them, right? So if they give us directly, it will reduce all this problem we are talking every day. Without IPMAN, that man cannot sustain because they have limited outlets. So we buy from them, right from Lagos or Gara, further Calabar. In fact, they depend on us. And you can call them and ask them. So we take the chunk of their product, but this product is given to them by the government. They don't import. So why can't they give it to us? Directly. Or you apportion it, give them some, give more man, and give IPMAN. But IPMAN is 100% on that man for our fuel. That is truth.
Right. You talked earlier about a meeting that should be called. Why hasn't it been called, even though this scarcity is just hit Lagos? It's been ongoing in different parts of the country, like Abuja, like Oyo. Why the procrastination?
Well, if they know their job, they're supposed to have called it, for the meeting, right? So that we can sit down and put down all the problems and find solutions to it one by one. They can't continue to be looking other way. It will continue like this if they fail to do the right thing.
Okay. We keep saying we fail to do the right thing. We keep saying we are not calling meetings that we ought to have. We keep saying all sorts. But the problems persist and people keep suffering as a result of all of this. We cannot necessarily exonerate IPMAN from this. Likewise, we cannot necessarily exonerate the government from this. The question is, when will we have a middle ground? When are we going to have the middle ground to all of this? Because I remember the last time you came, we even talked about the sharp prices of some of your members. You're saying now that we're using 60 million liters per day officially, but I also pointed to you how some of your members would drive the trucks out of the country to go sell in some other climes and make their money from it. We pointed that out to you. When is every part of this going to come together and strike a middle ground? When are we going to do this for Nigeria and the suffering Nigeria people?
Yes, I'm not saying that there's no smuggling. Yes, there's smuggling, right? If we say there's no smuggling, we're different. I'm not saying the truth, but it takes two to tango, right? We talk of this is not in needle that you just put in your pocket and walk away across the border. We have almost about 10 security agencies there, right? And my members don't drive truck. Yes, we have drivers as a staff. But most of them are these Nupeng and PTD people, right? If we all work patriotically, why should we smuggle fuel from the country. These are part of the problem, and it's eating deep into the country purse. Because naturally, in fact, we see our fuel in Benin Republic, in Niger, Cameroon, right? So, but we have security, customs are there, police are there, DSS are there. So why should they allow that thing to happen? I'm not saying that my members, we are saints, we can have some bad egg, yes, right? But it can be checkmate by security agents who are paid to do their, to do their job from the Federation account. So let them do their job and stop this smuggling from bleeding the country, because it's even the system that we are talking. If this smuggling stops, maybe it will come down to 40 or 45, or 50. So we should be patriotic. It concerns everybody. That's why I said there should be a meeting, not only among the Petroleum or IPMAN or that man. That also include custom and all the security agencies, right? A holistic meeting that will solve this problem once and for all.
Okay. Hopefully that meeting is done as good as today or tomorrow, so we can get all of this over with. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you